Now we're going to run a few tests. This is a simple lie detector. I'll ask you a few yes or no questions, and you just answer truthfully. Do you understand?
Yes. The polygraph machine, often referred to as a lie detector test, was invented in 1921 by California policeman and psychologist John Larson. Larson devised the machine to measure continuous changes in perspiration, blood pressure, heart rate, and respiration rate in order to aid in the detection of lies and deception. However, this machine would never have been possible without the countless studies conducted by psychologists Leonard Keeler, William Marston, and James Mackenzie.
Leonard Keeler contributed his own device, the psychogalvanometer, which was a device used for measuring skin resistance. This device was used as a prototype for the modern polygraph as we know it.
William Marston was the creator of the systolic blood pressure test machine, another key component of the modern polygraph. The systolic blood pressure machine measures your systolic and diastolic blood pressures. Systolic blood pressure is when the heart beats and pushes blood through the arteries of the heart, whereas diastolic blood pressure is when the heart is resting and filling with blood. Systolic is supposed to be around 120 beats per minute, whereas diastolic blood pressure is supposed to be around 80 beats per minute while resting. A deviation in those numbers while being monitored may indicate that a person is attempting to be deceitful.
Watching TV alone. All right. I'm gonna sit at home and ogle the ladies in the Victoria's Secret catalog. See his catalog. Now, would you unhook this already, please? I don't deserve this kind of shabby treatment.
Finally, James Mackenzie is known as a pioneer in the study of cardiac arrhythmias and the treatment of them. He developed his own device to detect cardiac arrhythmias, which also later became a main component. Together, these individuals have contributed to the modern-day polygraph machine.
This brings us to Mr. Gary Ennis, an individual who has had plenty of experience dealing with the polygraph machine.
I'm Gary Ennis. I'm employed here at the high school as their in-school suspension coordinator. Been here since 2013 and interact with the kids on a regular basis. So prior to this, I was on the Macedonia Police Department. I was there for 26 years.
And in those 26 years, what kind of experience do you have working with polygraph machines?
Well, with the polygraph machine, that all falls under investigative services, which would be a responsibility of the Detective Bureau. I personally was not involved in giving out polygraphs, but I've witnessed many of them being done and helped the polygraph provider set up the questionnaires that are asked in order to be able to determine the truthfulness of the person being polygraphed. A polygraph comes in handy when you're in a line of questioning with a suspect on a particular item and you don't feel as though you're being able to extract the truth that you're looking for through interview processes. So at that point you would set up a polygraph.
So what does this process look like? Let's imagine you were taken into custody and administered an exam. What kind of questions would you be asked? And how does the polygraph machine distinguish between a truthful subject and one who is attempting to be deceiving?
So they set up a baseline question first, several baseline questions which will show your truths, okay? Are you a male? Are you a female? Are you bald? Are you long hair, curly, blue eyes, gray eyes, brown eyes? Base questions to get truth line, right? So, for example, if I was talking to you, I'd say, are you a Nordonia High School student?
Yes.
That would come up as true. Do you have 3 eyes and 7 fingers?
No.
And that would be true as well.
On
a false question, on a no question,
exactly.
Right? So you set that baseline, and from that baseline, we'll determine how they react when you ask the pointed questions that you're looking to resolve. Did you rob the bank? No. That kind of thing.
As mentioned before, the modern polygraph machine measures 3 main vitals. As a matter of fact, it's this very fact that gives the polygraph its name. Polygraph means many writings. Once again, these many writings include perspiration, respiration, and then heart rate and blood pressure. In order to measure respiration, the interviewer will place electronic sensors, sometimes pads, sometimes rubber tubes, on your chest and abdominal area. Heart rate and blood pressure are measured through the use of blood cuffs that will no doubt be placed around one of your arms in a very similar manner to how the process is conducted during a routine checkup at the doctor's office. Finally, perspiration. 2 small metal plates or disposable adhesive electrodes are attached to the ends of your fingers. The electrodes will record sweat gland activity.
You will react a certain way, the chemistry in your body, your nervous system, and so forth, based on how you react. You know, if you're untruthful, it'll spike your blood pressure, it'll spike your pulse rate, it'll spike all that, which are indicators that you're not being truthful. Is there a light that goes off that goes, you know, you see these on these comedy shows, lie, truth, lie? No, you know, it's based on observation and your body's responses to the questions that they're asking under stress.
The results are then analyzed by law enforcement to determine a result. American Polygraph Association has stated that polygraphs can be a highly accurate way to learn if someone is telling the truth or not, often citing 90% as the accuracy rate. However, many skeptics and critics say the tests are correct only about 70% of the time. As such, polygraphs are being used less and less in police investigations, as their uncertainty does not bode well with the justice system. As a matter of fact, polygraph results are only admissible in court in the following states. Like I mentioned, while supporters of the test often claim it has an accuracy rating of up to 90%, detractors often point to the fact that the test can easily be taken advantage of as a reason for its discontinuation. Despite this, the polygraph test is still widely used during job screenings and by probation officers to test the honesty of former criminals and sex offenders.
The tense, the anxious moment. A man's future is at stake.
Even though the polygraph machine is a useful tool in many scenarios, it has been proven to give faulty results. Gary Ridgway, also known as the Green River Killer, passed the polygraph test multiple times before finally being convicted due to other evidence. Likewise, Bill Wegerle failed the polygraph test when he questioned about the murder of his wife in 1986. Bill Wegerle was eventually proven innocent through a DNA test.
What type of person would be most likely to be able to deceive the investigator without being caught?
I would say that it's possible for somebody that's well versed with deceit and fraud, a well practiced liar or manipulator of the truth is what I would like to call that, where they themselves believe the lie. You know, so if they believe the lie, it's going to be hard.
To them it is the truth. So
Yeah,
why would there
right.
be
So, and that's where that comes in handy. You know, where you start then with a different line of questions to try to unravel some of that, so you can dig in a little deeper and perhaps circumvent the fact that they believe the lie.
So now that the circumstances surrounding the polygraph test are laid out, let's go into depth into the strategies that we've been alluding to this entire time. According to Dr. Ann Helmenstein, a professor of biomedical sciences at the University of Tennessee, your main purpose when deceiving a lie detector is to reduce variability in responses as much as possible. This leaves you with 2 options. You can either A, be completely zen, be peaceful, be calm, no matter what you are asked, or you can B, be completely distraught throughout the test. Now, this may go against common logic, but remember what was mentioned earlier about the interviewer wanting to create as comfortable an environment as possible in order to isolate lying as the only potential source of stress. By overreacting to every question, you are essentially fuzzing the radar, making conclusions very difficult to be drawn. As the years continue to progress, the polygraph machine may seem doomed to fall by the wayside. Just another piece of technology that may have initially seemed promising, but over time has proven to be susceptible. However, as Mr. Ennis stated, the polygraph is not an end-all be-all in determining guilt. It is merely a tool used by law enforcement to establish lines of reasoning and questioning. Its results should not, nor are not, taken as undeniable proof. Despite its criticisms, the polygraph has an important role in the way investigations are conducted. It opens up lines of reasoning, and it puts pressure on the subjects to be truthful. Calling the polygraph a lie detector has given it a bad rap over the years. It's not a lie detector, that's a misnomer. However, it does have a niche, and in that niche, the machine may continue to have a use for many years to come.